because I'd been conditioned from all along, like other people of my generation, I'm a Gen Xer, that the only way to succeed is to go to school, maybe go to university, get a good job, work really hard, usually 40, 50 plus hours a week, sometimes more. Do that for about 40 years and then retire.
If you get to live long enough.
If you get to live long enough and if you're healthy at the end of it as well, to enjoy that. And I thought, you know what? That's not for me. It's got to be a better way. So is there something wrong with me or is there something wrong with the system? You know, I need to be happy and I need to be fulfilled.
Come on, give me the intro, man. Start. Forget about your intro. Just fuck the intros, fuck everything.
Surviving the digital jungle is tough. We're here to guide you through it on the Digital Jungle Podcast.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome all our listeners back. Thank you very much for all the comments on the last podcast that we had. Today, we have a bit more of a controversial style podcast, and we have a great visitor to the building today, Vicki from I'm Too Old for This Shit. Vicki, congratulations on your recent book.
Thank you, Johnny.
On behalf of AiiMS, we wish you all the very best with it, and we hope it brings you many successes. And better yet, we also hope that your message behind it gets out to the world and it actually helps improve people's lives, because I believe that's, you know, something that you've kind of made clear in your intentions and the main message behind the book. You know, I'd love to give our listeners a little bit more of a background about yourself, because, you know, talking to you, I find it really, really interesting that you come from this wealth of knowledge and this really wealthy background in this corporate world where you're full of knowledge and full of, you know, insights on how things actually planned out. Would you like to maybe just give us a little bit of an introduction about yourself? And
Absolutely. So, as you know, I've had a long career in the corporate world. I worked my way up through various levels of an organization. I did a couple of degrees. So I did my Bachelor of Business. I did a Master of Business Administration. You know, I had some pretty cushy kind of roles traveling around Australia, even overseas. But then, you know, I came to a point in my life a couple of years back where I realized I'm actually too old for this shit. And the main thing that really tipped me over was the corporate politics and how people were kind of, you know, stepping on each other to get ahead. And I realized that doesn't align with my values and it's just not me.
wow, great. You know, like if we dive a bit deeper in there, like, you know, for example, how many years were you in that corporate scene?
Almost 30.
Almost 30 years. Wow. Okay, great. So you probably, you know, entered that scene in the 90s.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How different was it in the 90s compared to when you left the scene?
Look, to be honest, probably not a lot changed, unfortunately. So whilst, you know, it's quite common these days for organisations to say that they have diversity policies, particularly around, you know, women in the workforce and, you know, people of different nationalities and, you know, all different kinds of backgrounds, in reality, things haven't changed that much.
What a shame.
Yeah.
What an absolute shame. So are you saying that through this, you know, 30-year journey in this type of working environment, are you saying that you've actually witnessed firsthand the type of things like, you know, gender inequality, you know, discrimination, things like that in that type of a corporate environment, where even though, you know, just because, like, say someone's really, really good at what they do because of their background, faith, or, you know, male, female, their work is discredited?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. The other thing that I've found too is ageism. So as people start to get a little bit older, we notice that, you know, salaries start to become capped. In some cases, they even start to go backwards and opportunities for promotion just aren't there.
Wow. Okay, great. So, I mean, look, if let's dive a little bit deeper. Like, what was your light bulb moment where you actually realized, fuck this, I'm actually too old for this shit?
Okay. So it's actually outlined in my book fairly early on in part 1. And it's around corporate politics. So I'd been working for weeks on this presentation that I needed to make to the really senior executive team in the organisation that I was working for. I'd consulted with my boss on it. I engaged the services of an external strategist. You know, we workshopped it, and he's like, "Yeah, this is phenomenal. You know, you're going to smash it." Okay, cool. So walked into the boardroom, dressed to the nines, and I stood up in front of this room of people. Most of them were men, a couple of women around the table, but the majority of them were men. And I think I got to about slide 2 and it stopped. Basically, they criticised all my rationale, all my thoughts, and even the guy, my boss, who had worked with me on the presentation, he dismissed it as well.
Wow. So it's a typical corporate backstabbing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yep, right there and then.
So
and
typical, eh?
Yeah.
What a shame.
So that was my moment when I just thought, nah, I'm too old for this shit.
Okay, great. And then, so you had this light bulb moment and you thought to yourself, I'm too old for this shit. But you've always been a person of opportunity and big vision.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and also I'm a realist, right? So I'm a working mum. My kids were a little bit younger at the time, but I still had 2 kids to put through school, husband, bills. We've all got it, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, look, I can't do anything rash. Let's just think about this, in the right possible way. So I took a step back and I thought, hang on, I've done everything they've asked me to do. I'm more than qualified. I have the 2 university degrees. I've been with this company for several years and they still don't like it. So is there something wrong with me or is there something wrong with the system? I had thought, what am I going to do? I can't do this forever because it's against my values and I'm just not putting up with it anymore. But I need to make a living and, I need to be happy and I need to be fulfilled. So over the years, I had been involved in a couple of network marketing businesses and I'd had some success, but nothing really to write home about.
Sure.
And I just started thinking there was this seed in the back of my mind that just would not go away. And so I thought, why haven't I been able to be successful at this in the past? And I realised that it was my own limiting beliefs. The stuff that was going on between my own ears was stopping me from progressing in life because I'd been conditioned from all along, like other people of my generation, I'm a Gen Xer, that the only way to succeed is to go to school, maybe go to university, get a good job, work really hard, usually 40, 50 plus hours a week, sometimes more. Do that for about 40 years and then retire.
If you get to live long enough.
If you get to live long enough and if you're healthy at the end of it as well to enjoy that. And I thought, you know what? That's not for me. It's got to be a better way. So I went back and looked at the network marketing opportunity and really started to understand, hey, these guys have got it right. Because it's not about where you sit in a particular organizational structure. It's how much value you give to others.
Right. Wow. That's amazing. Like, I'm taken back at, I like to kind of learn from a lot of lessons, right? And, I feel like you've been able to kind of teach us, today so much about, how to really value your time and how to value, your life and how not to, just sit in a seat that's not for you, because I'm a really big believer in you have to love what you do.
Yeah.
And if you don't love what you do, then you should leave because you got to work from passion, not from stress.
Mm-hmm.
And, I feel like in that environment that you've come from, I feel like it's highly toxic.
Yes.
And I think after so many years, and I feel like we need to kind of, we need to talk to people about removing the taboo. There's a taboo around not being open about it. But, at the end of the day, you just have to go to any main train station in Sydney and take a look at we're all walking in. You see people walking in like ants, just like ants on the train, go to work, get into this hierarchy, sit in your place, do what you need to do. Whether you go above and beyond, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's not gonna. There's only one spot that's
at the
top, right? Whereas with network marketing, it's more so, the harder you work, the more you're rewarded.
Exactly.
And it's like a total. It's an upside down here. The whole system's been flipped on its head.
Correct.
Where it rewards people equally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I absolutely love it. And, we preach the very similar values and ethics here in our company, AiiMS Group, where, we want people to love where they work. And, our staff are not staff, they're team members. And we all kind of sit, I'm a big believer in, you work for your team, not your team work for you, right? So
exactly.
As a manager, I have a responsibility of, holding this group together and working for them to make their life easier, because at the end of the day, they're the people that are...
Their success is your success.
That's absolutely right. And
Yeah.
I believe it. And I, maybe from my generation, very early on, I started in a corporate environment, and within 3 years said to myself, fuck this. I'm too young for this shit.
I love it. Yeah.
I was too young for this shit, and I'm not going to see my life playing out that way.
Yeah.
And I think the more awareness we raise about, things like network marketing, because there are a lot of, you mentioned ageism, right? So,
Yes.
there are a lot of people right now that are within your generation that are actually stuck in that exact same boat you were.
There's a couple examples in my book that I talk about people that, have done the right thing and gone to school and gone to university and had some good jobs, and then through no fault of their own, they find themselves working in a cafe or maybe even, Uber driving. And
Well, I have a cousin in that exact same scenario. I can't
Yeah.
mention any names, but, she was the dux of her school, went to university, got a job in a very big organization, has been stuck in the same seat for 35 years,
Yeah.
and told me she would love a great cafe job
yeah.
because of the movement. And, so there are a lot
Yeah.
of people that are stuck in that,
Yeah.
in that exact. So talk to us about why you're so smart.
Why am I so smart?
So I heard that you were always the dux of the school.
I loved reading.
Yes.
Yeah, as a kid, I'm an only child. My extended family were all from country area of New South Wales. I was the only kid in the city. My parents were quite overprotective, and I spent a lot of time reading. In fact, I used to read back in the day, the Encyclopedia Britannica, just for fun. Yeah. So
Wow.
anyway, I just love learning. And, as I mentioned, I've got 2 university degrees, but I've probably learnt more through my own self-learning. I'm an avid reader of all different types of books, but I really am big in the personal development space. And obviously in more recent years, you can learn a hell of a lot from YouTube.
Yeah, you can.
And I really admire people that get out there and take a risk, and, they're happy to put themselves out and happy to learn. And then, other people can learn from that as well.
Wow.
And I also like to challenge things. So I've studied hypnotherapy and neuro-linguistic programming, and that's taught me a hell of a lot about the beliefs that we hold, and we don't even question those beliefs. And so, it's also outlined in the later parts of my book is a little method that I came up with, and it basically says, it's really all in your mind. Like we think, as you were saying, people get up every day, put their suit on, jump on the train, head off into the city for a job, and because, well, that's just what you do. Well, let's challenge that.
Yeah, I agree.
And
not only that, the system's not working, right? So to actually keep a job in that environment, you need to be wired on a Saturday.
Yes.
So you can't just work Monday to Friday, 9 till 5.
No.
You need to be wired on the Saturday. You need to be wired on the Sunday. You need to be constantly thinking and thinking and thinking. And it's about producing more and more and more and more.
But in the corporate environment, you are, just say you're wired on the weekends and after hours and all that, but you're still rewarded at that 9 to 5 kind of rate.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're in a network marketing business, you can be working, whenever you want. You can be, going to the gym in the morning and then coming home and, jumping online and messaging some of your partners and whatever else. You're getting paid for that. Like, you put the effort in, it's going to come back to you.
Yeah, 100%. Seems like a beautiful structure.
Yeah, it is.
And it's quite global, actually. So it's been something that, from the early 2000s that has been, incubating out there and becoming more and more popular.
It's been around for many, many decades, in fact. But in recent years, like the whole gig economy and the world of work itself, network marketing companies have evolved as well. The company that I'm actually partnered with is leading the way in what they call social retail. And basically it's allowing all its partners, its distributors, even its customers, a platform where they can do everything 100% online from their phone, anywhere in the world that they basically have an internet connection, which is awesome.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Like that's, something that's, somebody obviously had a genuine vision.
Yeah.
And thought, it's obviously still business. It is still about ensuring that there are margins and profit. But there's a different attitude towards it, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the corporate companies out there, they're actually trying their best to adopt to that type of attitude, but they're not really successful at it from what I can see.
Yeah. I mean, there are some, I guess something like Uber, that's been a disruptor in the whole industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, similarly with the network marketing, years ago, and some of the, I guess, again, I talk about it in my book, some of the myths or rumors about the industry where you've got to have all these home parties and things like that. I don't need to do that. We don't need to do that anymore because we all have a smartphone. We're all on it 24/7. So if we're on it, we might as well be using it to, not only benefit ourselves, but benefit others.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been to uni.
Yeah.
So you basically grew up, following a traditional life model.
Mm-hmm.
So go to school, you were really good. You applied yourself in all those, in your ducks of the school.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that speaks for itself. And then, you mentioned that you went into a role. Then you thought to yourself, you saw everybody kind of moving up the ranks and you said, okay, well, I'm missing this uni degree.
Yeah.
But you were smart anyway.
Yeah.
But it wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough. Unless you play the corporate politics game, it's really hard to get ahead.
So you did how many uni degrees?
Did 2.
And how many years of your time did you put into that?
6. And that's also, working around a full-time job and being a mum to 2 young kids.
Main message.
Yeah.
Do you regret going to uni?
I don't regret it, but I don't think I really got anything out of it.
So if you were living again, would you have gone back to, would you have done the same thing?
No way.
Right.
No.
Okay. So you don't regret it.
I don't regret it.
Probably some massive HEX bill
Yeah.
that you had to pay off,
Yeah.
whatever. You don't regret it, but if you had the choice, you wouldn't have done it again.
No.
Okay, great. So uni really...
It didn't really teach me anything.
Are you applying your uni degree to anything of your future from this point onwards?
No, because I feel like I've learned it all myself.
So I feel like it's kind of full of shit, really,
Yeah.
if you have to think hard of it.
For one, I did, yeah. I mean, if you needed to be a surgeon, okay, I don't want anyone operating on me unless they know what they're doing, right?
100%.
I don't want anyone building a house for me unless
Corporate
they know
bar.
what to do. But in
Corporate
corporate
environment,
life,
business, how to respond to an email etiquette.
it's pretty simple to respond to an email. It's pretty simple to set up a meeting. And you know what? I think, people's own values and morals, you need to be able to have those things, most importantly, to be able to deal with people, respect other people, and talk to people.
I agree with you 1 million%.
Do not need a university degree to do that.
I agree with you 1 million%.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for all of the children that are sitting right now in university that don't realize that everything that they're taking from it is going to have no actual effect to their life moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a mother, right? How many children?
2.
2. Okay, great. A boy and a girl?
Yeah.
Excellent. Are they in uni?
No. So, no, my daughter is...
So how do you take, sorry to cut you
You're
off,
right.
but guidance-wise, what would you kind of guide the youth with?
I'm not anti-uni. I want people to be happy, number one, because life is too short. I sent my kids to very good schools and, say 10 years ago, whatever, it's like, you've got to do well at school, pass your exams, study hard, go to uni, blah, 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 because that's where my mind was at, right? But I watch my kids grow and they've got their own personalities. My son, very, very handy with his, woodwork and things like that. He should be doing year 12 now. He was successful in getting an apprenticeship with a really great company here in Sydney, and he's as happy as can be. My daughter's working on her own little business and is working part-time in retail. And she loves it,
Like they say, like mother, like daughter.
Yeah.
Wow. So she's already in her own,
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So I guess, one thing that I think we're not taught, which, through uni and schooling really is, just general math, like general math and how, what the tax system is. We don't get
How to
taught
fill out a form.
how to fill out a form, how to calculate your GST.
Exactly.
A lot of these basic things, there's a huge gap, right?
I had to laugh the other day a couple of months back when my son was signing up with his employer and he was filling out the forms and the guy said, hey, you didn't fill out this section. And my son said, I don't know what that means. And it says, what is your next of kin? Who is your next of kin? He didn't know what it was. And they're like, oh, it's your mom or it's your dad or whatever. Like, they're not taught that in school.
Absolutely.
It seems basic.
Yeah, I know. It is. So I guess, so in this light bulb moment, then you've kind of evolved into saying, so you've discovered, or you said that you had always kind of dabbled into network marketing, but you were in the way.
Mm-hmm.
So you were your own wall. So
Yes.
you developed an understanding that you need to kind of break down the way you look at this or the way you look at the whole networking ecosystem. and how to collaborate, obviously, because you come from a corporate world, collaboration is not very popular. So I want to kind of get a bit deeper into, through your career path, at what stage did you see the corporate world evolving? Because I'm sure from the 90s to, these years.
Yeah. It has evolved a lot. I mean, obviously the internet has had a massive impact, right? So when I started in the early 90s, believe it or not, I was still using a typewriter.
Right.
Okay.
Wow.
So I saw the introduction of, like more word processing and then, emails. One of my jobs, I remember, you're sending a memo and putting it in a little internal envelope. We had some person that would come around and deliver the mail. Yes, I know. You may laugh, but it's true.
Wow.
So that's happened. But then even in my own roles in corporate life, in a way, I kind of made myself redundant because I made systems so streamlined, because there are plenty of systems out there now that can basically do the work of, 1 to 5 or more people, right? So where we used to have to code all your expenses, there's an app that will do that for you now and download it straight from the credit card statement on the bank. We had teams of accounts people. You can offshore that to another country, call centers. That's the world of work has changed.
I guess that's kind of, the negative economical impact to the whole corporate evolution.
Yeah. And
Um,
so that's why if you don't adapt, you're going to be left behind.
So ageism, is it real?
100%. Yeah. I don't, I'm ashamed to admit it, but yes, I've seen it. Sort of the older you get, the longer that you're out of employment as well. So research has shown that people in their 40s and 50s are unemployed for a longer period of time than younger workers.
Wow. So for example, obviously I haven't experienced ageism yet. I'm not at a point where my age has left me vulnerable to my career. But, so when you say it's real, like, do you mean there's a 60-year-old right now sitting at a desk that's extremely vulnerable?
If that person is lucky enough to be sitting at a desk in their situation.
Wow.
I mean, looking at, even finding a job, it's not only getting an interview, it's getting your your resume through the algorithms. And so if, there's websites like Seek, Monster, Indeed, whatever, sending those through, a person is generally not looking at those. The machine is scanning them. And if you've got things in there that might be indicating that you're, been in the workforce for several decades, you're probably going to get discarded without even making it to a short list.
Terrible.
Yeah.
So
and
it
then
is real.
It is real. And then think about social media. You put your name out there. If you've got a Facebook profile and people can see you there with your grandkids, job, it's all over.
So I mean, in Vicky's world, what does somebody do? So advice. So I mean, like, how do we give our viewers, if there is anyone, if there are any viewers out there that are kind of, entering those ages of life that don't have a job or, are not employed and have kind of been bled mentally that, you will never find one, and that there are more people that are younger that are looking for that. Like, where does network marketing come into this?
Well, obviously I'm biased, but I think it is a real opportunity for people of any age. I mean, I'm saying it's an opportunity for people in my generation, Generation X, and why not? I mean, we've all got strong networks.
Yeah.
We're all connected now. We're connected globally through our phone, and we can talking to people on the other side of the planet sort of 24/7, right? So embrace that and use it. And there are companies out there with phenomenal products and the right values and ethos that, is aligned. If you're not for the corporate world and it's basically chewed you up and spat you out, then look at a model that you probably, you might have disregarded because of those rumors about, it's a pyramid scheme and it's, only people at the top make money and all that kind of stuff. Open your mind and challenge those beliefs. Have a look at my book and see what you think.
I'm so fascinated by this whole new world. And I'm more so fascinated because you've obviously been so successful at it and you've got this blueprint to show people how to kind of get out there and get into the whole network marketing side of
Yeah.
things. And I think, you know, anybody out there that's really in that mind space of wanting to get more out of themselves, you know, I highly recommend they either go and buy the book. Where can people find your book?
It's on Amazon. It's also on Balboa Press.
Okay,
And
great.
it'll be coming soon to Audible and
Oh,
also
right.
other online retailers.
Okay, awesome. No worries. So I really, you know, highly recommend you go out there, you buy the book, you know, you support this amazing cause, and, you know, take a look into what network marketing is. You know, like what Vicki said earlier, all you really need to do is go to Facebook or any one of the major social media channels and just punch in Vicki Wright, Victoria Wright, Victoria Wright, WRIGHT, and send her a DM. And if you want to look at exploring any of the other further opportunities that may kind of come out of this, like you said, you're responsive and you're, you know, you're ready to answer with anyone. You're real. Can someone, you know, DM you and
Yeah, for
get a
sure.
bit of understanding and go for a coffee or anything like
If they're
that?
in
and
Sydney, love to have a coffee. Yeah.
Great.
But otherwise, you know, connected on our iPhones, whatever, Androids. And as well, I've got an amazing team around me. So there's plenty of support.
Excellent. No worries. Well, thank you, everyone. And Victoria, thank you very much for coming in today. I really appreciate it. And I do hope within a few months from now, we're able to sit down and give everyone a stage 2 update on how the world of network marketing and promoting your new book is.
Okay. Sounds awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Johnny.